How you doing, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Hot Takes with your host, Marcus. Now, last week's episode was the 20th episode, and this is the 21st, obviously. So, I said I was going to do a Washington football specific draft grading. Now, I'm not going to draft each individual player because when they were being drafted, I had no idea what Ron Rivera and his staff were doing. But upon further review, I have to say I think this is one of Washington's better drafts, mainly because instead of going for the highest, valued player, we went for our guys. And I love the fact that we had a plan of contingency going into this. Now, with the first pick in the draft, at number 19, we selected Jamin Davis out of Kentucky, linebacker. Now, this was a position of need for us, mainly because we had just last season was presumably Ryan Kerrigan's final season, at least with the team. And I used to call him El Capitan. He was Iron Man for the team. After London Fletcher retired. So I mean, Ryan Kerrigan, we're gonna miss you a lot, but you left a hole in our defense, and we had to fill it. So I'm glad we got Jamin Davis. I didn't know a whole lot about the guy. Honestly, when I think Kentucky, I don't think football. I think basketball, like most people do. Did a little research on him, pros and cons. The pros, he can start right away. He is a very polished game for a college player, especially playing somewhere like Kentucky. They're becoming more known for all-around sports, and he's one of the better linebackers in college football last year. I believe the only linebacker that was actually better than him, like the only actual linebacker that was better than him, was Micah Parsons, who ended up in Dallas. Jamin Davis, the cons of his game is really just one. He's a bit of a downhill runner, so he doesn't necessarily read the offense but so well when it comes to pass plays. He's more of a run stopper than he is a coverage guy. That doesn't mean he can't cover, but he's really better, coming off that edge, coming off the left side or the right side of that edge rusher and running downhill at the quarterback or the ball carrier for the most part. So I think he's going to be very useful right away. Next up, one of my favorite things to do is to protect your investment even before you have your guy. So the quarterback of this year is probably going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we picked up in free agency. And we didn't draft a quarterback. Of course, I wanted Kyle Trask out of Florida, but it didn't happen because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stole my quarterback. It's fine because I got something for that. I'm not worried about it. You're going to like this, but that's toward the end of the episode. Don't worry about it. It's just it's partially my hot take, so just a little bit there for you. But back to what I was saying. So with the second pick, 51st, we selected another player that could play right away in Samuel Cosmi, one of the best offensive tackles in this year's draft. Now, here's the funny thing about Samuel Cosmi. He actually had a first-round draft grade, but he slid due to, I guess, size purposes. He's not the biggest, but he has some of the best footwork. He is one of the more powerful guys. And he's probably the most athletic offensive tackle in the draft this year. So looking forward to him playing. I believe that what they're probably going to have him do is start on the left side because the guy we got last year, Sadiq Charles, we're not sure if he's even going to work out. He missed his whole rookie season. I'm hoping that he plays. The good thing about Cosmi is he can also play at guard as well. So if Sadiq Charles decides, or we decide that Sadiq Charles is ready to play and he can actually start and be an impact player, we can have him line up at the left and probably have Samuel Cosmi either play left or right guard. He might even take over right tackle for Morgan Moses. Who knows? Another player here in the third round, we selected with the 74th pick. Says here, get his name out here. Okay, this guy I was really interested in, mainly because of his size. He's 6'3". He plays defensive back. Now, notice he's not a corner, nor is he a safety. He's probably going to get a good look at safety. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. So, Benjamin St. Juste out of Minnesota, 6'3", defensive back. I like him. Of course, I like guys with more length, especially playing in that secondary, because with that length, if the ball is thrown his way, he's got just as much catch radius as the wide receiver does. It makes it easy for him to catch. Now, he's a little handsy, I will say that. I saw some of his tape. He'll probably get a few penalties here and there. He has to work on that. But I think with a simple change of position that could work out. Now, I'm going to skip a couple of draft picks because I'll get back to this in just a second. Derek Forrest out of Cincinnati, a safety. We needed a safety, and just in case St. Juste isn't ready to make that switch, he can still be a really good defensive back playing corner. But we also went ahead and got an actual safety and Forrest. Again, all these players can start right away. The reason I was so fixated, and I'm glad Washington as a whole was fixated on the defensive backfield, was because last year, as good as Landon Collins is a Pro Bowl player, all-world, I love the guy, but he got exposed. Okay, he really is. He played. He's only good inside the box. And on football people know what I'm talking about when I say the box. He's really good at stacking the box and playing in the rush. He's really good at getting to the ball carrier on the line. He's really good at that. So honestly, and I'm in this camp with everyone else. Most Washington fans want him to switch to linebacker, which we think he could be much more useful. And since he's refusing to do so, what I think Ron Rivera is going to do is he's going to take him out of the starting role at safety, and he's either going to have St. Juste or Forrest take over for him, and he's going to create a package with Landon Collins just to stack him in the box on pass rush plays. Now, I like that idea. I don't know if Landon Collins is going to like it because his contracts. That's where all the politics of contracts get involved. Of course, there's going to be player incentive for money, and the better he plays, more chances are he's going to get better offers, more money, other places. So it's probably not going to work out too well for his contract. But all he has to do is switch positions. He doesn't want to do so. So we went ahead and solidified that right there. We got 2 DBs, and they can both start right away. We're going to go back a couple more back into the 3rd round. We picked up, I always say his name wrong, but I want to say is DME Brown. Now, I'm not crazy about picking wide receivers in the draft, but seeing how we got Terry McLaurin a couple years ago, it worked out, but we haven't had a lot of success in the draft when it comes to wide receivers. I'm hoping that Brown can be another one of those guys. Also, it worries me a bit because we are kind of stacked at the wide receiver position. Not necessarily saying that we have it settled. It's just there are a lot of guys that we've had in these past few drafts that have not gotten a chance to show that they are worth staying on the team, and we're still steady bringing in wide receivers as well as through free agency. More about that later as well. Here's a position that I was really, really, really happy that we picked up. I've been ranting about this for years. I've wanted a tight end ever since Chris Cooley retired, and we really haven't had a tight end. I mean, Jeremy Sprinkle is god awful. He was god awful. I'm glad he's not on the team anymore. I mean, more power to him. I hope he finds a job. But Jeremy Sprinkle was not a very good tight end. He could barely block, and he wasn't very crisp at running routes. And he would just drop almost anything coming in his direction. That's not what we need. So we picked up John Bates from Boise State. Now, here's what I can say. Now, John Bates, really good in the red zone. As a big target for a quarterback. So that's good to know. Not the best route runner, of course, but he's a rookie. He'll get better with time in that. He's an excellent blocker, which I do like that because that's going to help out our running game a lot. Also, that's going to help out the passing game a lot, too, because since the line is getting better, we're going to need to be protecting our quarterback of the future. Ryan Fitzpatrick will be here this year. We don't know who's going to be from here on. We still have Taylor Heineke for the next 2 years. That's great. But we'll figure that out as we go along. John Bates is probably going to be fighting for the number 2 tight end spot with a player to be named later on in this episode. And it's going to be a battle. I think that Bates will win that competition, but we'll see. I got more on that in just a moment. Now, in the later rounds, 6th and 7th round, we had 4 more picks. Like I said earlier, we had 10 draft picks in all, and these are the 4 players who are probably going to be fighting for spots on the team. Honestly, if it was up to me, I would probably say the only one that's probably guaranteed to make the team out of these 4 is the long snapper, to which, now this is where I got confused in the draft. We traded up for a long snapper in the 6th round, which doesn't make any sense. You never trade up for a punter or a kicker or a long snapper. But Cameron Cheeseman is, I guess he's going to be the guy. I mean, Ron Rivera, Coach Ron Rivera loves him, as we call him in Washington, Riverboat Ron. The man likes to gamble, likes to play with house money with the game on the line sometimes. It makes it more fun, I guess. But I think Cheeseman's going to be pretty good. I mean, he's one of those positions. He plays one of those positions that get overlooked all the time. You know, it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games. You know, we make fun of the guy for being a long snapper and not a center, but you know, very important position actually, because there's nothing worse than getting a bad snap on a kick, and that loses you the game. You know, loses possession. So I think that he's going to be a good part. You know, a good new piece of the team. No matter how small, every hole needs to be filled here. William Bradley King, I think he'll probably end up. He'll probably end up on the practice squad more than likely. I don't see him making the team, only because our defensive line is so stacked. I don't see a spot for him unless there's a trade made somewhere where we lose an edge, but I don't see it happening because Deron Payne is still playing the interior, even though last year we had I forgot the boy's name because he was out for so long. Man, Chase Young is on the other side of I can't think of his name right now. But our whole defensive line is actually coming back next year, and I don't see a lot of space for him. He could probably could make the roster, but we're a little stacked on the defensive line, so I don't see him making it, nor do I see Shaka Toney making it. And these two now I would give Shaka a little bit of an edge here because he played for Penn State. Penn State is known for pushing out defensive players. So I think that between the two of them, Shaka has a better chance. But, you know, that's to be seen. And again, like I said earlier, Dax Maline, wide receiver, BYU. I don't see a lot of these wide receivers sticking around. Usually 7th rounders are those guys who are, I mean, it's not a guaranteed contract that those guys are on. We're investing in them, as in we selected them. We have an eye on them, but their spot on the team is not solidified in the least bit. So overall, for the Washington football draft of 2021, I give them a solid B+. We got about, out of those 10 players, we got about, I'm gonna say, 4 starters. 4 guys that can come in right now and be impact players immediately. 5 if you count Cheeseman for the long snapping position. Brown, he probably will make the roster. He probably won't start at all because we still have a few guys coming back. We haven't seen Antonio Gandy Golden play yet. He was hurt last year. Can't wait to see him play. Big 6'4" wide receiver, roughly about 225 pounds. I like the guy, big body. We have Kelvin Harmon coming back from injury, so we're going to see how he stacks up. So there's a lot of young receiving talent here, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Now, speaking of our free agency moves, it's interesting. So, in March, everyone was wondering what we were doing, so we released a few players and we brought a few players on. So, on the 3rd, we released and right after that, the 5th, we released both linebacker and quarterback. We released Thomas Davis Sr., which honestly he was going to retire, so it didn't really matter. He was just coming here to, I guess, get his last hurrah, maybe his last check. I'm not entirely sure, but he did play an important role as a locker room guy. You can't ever discount locker room presence in football. It's a young man's sport, and the older guys definitely play a part. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year. Now, the funny thing about his departure was we let him go, not because we wanted to necessarily let him go, but we knew he wasn't going to play anymore, not for us at the very least. And honestly, I feel like for the first time ever, the NFL did not afford a player an opportunity to play. And this is the first time, and maybe one of the only times I will ever be able to sit here and I'm going to give him a golf clap. A golf clap. See, the NFL just saved Alex Smith from himself. That injury a few years ago nearly killed him, actually. 17 surgeries on that leg. He had no business playing football ever again, but the man had something to prove, and he carried us to our wins. I mean, he didn't actually carry us. He was a starting quarterback. He just didn't lose us the games, but that's what he's known for doing. Alex Smith was, Captain Checkdown. Marvel has Captain America. Football has Captain Checkdown, and that's exactly who Alex Smith was. He made sure you stayed in the game. He wasn't going to be the one to lose it for you. Okay, so he's retired, and that's great. So that's something else that happened. Now, Directly after that, 5 days later, we tendered. We didn't sign him. We tendered Kyle Allen, and we retained his rights in free agency, which means he's still a part of the team currently, even though he's not necessarily signed to the team. We haven't decided yet. He's going to be around in camp, and we're going to decide whether he's going to be around or not, because we have to figure out what we're going to do with the quarterback position. I think this year, instead of running with 3 quarterbacks, we're going to run with 2. It's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke, who already signed his contract. Speaking of which, on the 17th, we're bringing back our kicker, Dustin Hopkins. He's been here forever now. I figure he's probably going to finish his career with us as well. He's not a bad kicker by any stretch of the imagination. Not the strongest foot, but tried and true, accurate. He won't miss too many times. Like I just said, Ryan Fitzpatrick was signed on the 18th. He will be the starter this year, along with wide receiver Curtis Samuel out of Carolina, who has a lot of promise. Honestly, I think he'll be the number 2 to Terry McLaurin's number 1. We still need a slot guy, but like I said, wide receiver is a very stacked position at the team on the team this year. We also picked up linebacker David Mayo and center Tyler Larson. Like I said, we didn't really hit a home run in free agency, but that's because Ron Rivera had a plan of contingency for the draft. Now, I'm not going to go through all of our free agents, but again, like I said, wide receiver, we picked up Adam Humphries. Adam Humphries can be of use. How much, I don't know. Wide receiver outside of Terry McLaurin, is a huge question mark for the team. All right. We released a lot of players too in the month of April. Caleb Brantley, he's been here for a little while, but he hasn't been able to crack the starting lineup at any given time. Wide receiver Emmanuel Hall was also cut, as well as running back Javon Leake. Thaddeus Moss, the son of Hall of Fame receiver Randy Moss, was also cut, along with Michael Warren. Now, the biggest loss here out of all these cuts was probably a guy that I was very excited about when he got drafted, but when he was drafted, he was coming off of a serious injury, and we never got a chance to see him play. He is healthy, but he's going to have to get his opportunity somewhere else, and that's Bryce Love. I honestly thought that we were going to run a 2-man set. Before we got J.D. McKissick, I thought we were going to have Bryce Love run with Antonio Gibson. But Gibson showed out. McKissick, showed that he can also be very useful, and Love never cracked the starting lineup, let alone off the practice squad. He never even made the 53-man roster, unfortunately, so he's going to have to find his opportunity elsewhere. Earlier, I said something about the tight end position and a battle for the number 2 tight end position. So Logan Thompson was a former quarterback turned tight end, and he showed out last year, because usually you always wonder what's going on when these quarterbacks change positions, and when they do that, it's because they don't seem to be NFL caliber or NFL level players at that position. And Logan Thomas already, he accepted the fact that maybe he won't be a quarterback, but he could play tight end. I didn't know about his route running last year. I didn't know how he was going to do, and he showed out. He showed up, and he really showed out. I mean, he really showed us something, enough to call him our number 1 tight end, at least for another year. But that number 2 slot is absolutely up for grabs between John Bates from Boise State and newcomer, a basketball player, and I'm excited about this guy. Oh, man, Samus Reyes. I got to tell you, I'm always excited about guys like basketball players make the best football players, not necessarily the other way around. Two tight ends, Hall of Fame tight ends at that, who came from basketball backgrounds. Antonio Gates from the San Diego Chargers back when they were San Diego, now they're LA. But also the tight end GOAT, greatest of all time, Tony Gonzalez. Now, Samus Reyes is an absolute monster. I don't have anything I can show you right now because everything is copywritten, and I would love to show you some of his training videos, but the man's an absolute monster. I mean, he is huge and super athletic. So far, Coach Ron Rivera believes that he has a chance to be the number 2 tight end. Coming in, like I said, it's going to be a battle between him and John Bates. John Bates has the absolute advantage of having played football. Reyes has never played football. He's never run a route. He's never blocked. He's never taken a hit. So there's a lot to be seen. That's why I'm looking forward to mini camps. I'm looking forward to the off-season training camps. I'm looking forward to the preseason as well because I want to see what this guy actually can do. I don't expect him to actually play this year. I expect him to spend 1 full year playing on the practice squad. If not, he'll be on the 53-man roster, but he's going to be like a third guy up. You probably won't see him unless he's playing on special teams, really. He'll probably spend a lot of time with Logan Thomas and John Bates learning his position. But it's going to be an interesting situation because I love a tight end. Like I always said, a tight end is your quarterback's safety net. And every quarterback plays better and feels better when they have that big target split 5 yards away from the sideline, 5 yards up, 10 yards up. They can always move the chains. They're a huge target, and it makes their job so much easier. So that's probably my favorite acquisition because he's a complete question mark. But they're saying that from an athletic standpoint, they're saying that his floor. Now, understand this idea. It's the floor to the ceiling. Okay, when it comes to potential in athletics, they're saying that his floor is that of what's that guy? I'm sitting here forgetting names. How am I doing that? They're saying that his floor is that of Kellen Winslow Jr. Super athletic, but the only thing wrong with Kellen Winslow Jr., he had a lot of problems off the field. But when he was on the field, he was absolutely dominant. That's his floor. And they're saying that his ceiling is that of Tony Gonzalez. He could be either really effective or Hall of Fame worthy. That's a lot of praise coming from someone who's never played the game before. I can't wait to see Sammis Reyes out there. I look forward to him. And that's a big time thing. Also, the last cut that was reported was a tight end, Marcus Baugh. Just a glorified blocker, honestly. He couldn't catch a cold. The man had no hands. So that's something interesting in itself. So he's already moving up the charts, and we haven't even started this tight end battle yet. So I'm backing up Team Reyes. I can't wait to see what number he's gonna wear because I'll be the first to get a custom Sammis Reyes jersey. I think I'm on his team 100%. Now, that was our free agency situation. Now, we did not address the quarterback situation in the draft, and that's because Kyle Trask came off the board with the last pick in the second round. We were hoping he would slide into the third, but, it is what it is. He was supposed to slide into the third, but it didn't happen, thanks to those Buccaneers. And honestly, that was a very smart move because Tom Brady can't play forever, and when he's finally done playing, Kyle Trask will have had 2 or 3 years to sit behind the greatest quarterback in NFL, in football history, for real. So he's going to come off and be like, their idea is he's gonna step in. It's gonna be like Tom Brady never left. That's what they're hoping for. And honestly, he has the potential to do that. So good on them. They played chess and not checkers like everyone else did. So when it comes to things of that sort, I do have to say this. I'm always looking forward. I'm always looking at the future. And there are a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year's draft. A lot of guys at quarterback are going to be coming off the board pretty high. Probably not as hyped as these guys are that just came out in the draft, but hyped nonetheless. And instead of looking at the big schools, I'm looking at the smaller schools. Because next year I have us taking a quarterback in the first round because we're going to need one, even if he's not going to play right away. And Washington, I'm going to introduce you to a guy that you probably never heard of named Malik Willis. He's a junior, 6'1", 215. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. Okay? Understand something. It's never too soon to look into the future. He plays for Liberty. He came from the school of Auburn. He played for the Tigers, but he couldn't get any PT. He wanted to play, so he decided, let me go on to Lynchburg, Virginia, and go ahead and play for the Liberty Flames. And you know what? The kid is a stud. Absolute stud. Okay? So just stay with me here. I don't have a whole lot of information on him yet, but I've seen a little bit of tape. I have a little information on him. This guy is somebody to watch. And my hot take is he will be Washington's first round pick in next year's draft. That is my hot take. I'm saying it now. We didn't get our quarterback this year. But, blessing in disguise. Things work themselves out. God works in mysterious ways. And, I think that this is our guy. I think that Malik Willis is our guy. And I'm sticking to that. I like Kyle Trask. I wish him well. Maybe he wasn't the guy. I think this might be the guy. He's coming from a smaller school. A school that's not known for athletics at that. Lynchburg, Virginia. DMV stand up. All right? So it concludes another episode of Hot Takes. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. I forgot about something. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this for at least a few seconds here. There's been a lot of rumors going around about where Aaron Rodgers is going to land. He's not happy with the Packers. He seemingly wants to leave. There's been this rumor about him landing in Washington. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not happening. So, Washington football fans who are on that train to get Aaron Rodgers here, it's a pipe dream. Let it go. It's not worth it. He's going to cost a fortune to bring on. Forget about his contract. I ain't talking dollars and cents. I'm talking whoever gets Aaron Rodgers is either going to completely fleece the Packers or they're going to mortgage their future to bring on a guy who may not be happy wherever he lands. If I had to choose a place for him to land, it would probably be Denver. Washington is a no-no. We have a young team still building chemistry. We don't need the likes of this guy. I understand he's a Hall of Famer. I understand he's an absolute beast. I understand he might be the greatest naturally gifted quarterback the league has ever seen. I understand all that. It's not even about his age because he was MVP last year. I'm taking nothing from Aaron Rodgers. I'm looking at our team and what we currently have going on. In order to trade for Aaron Rodgers, it would cost us a key part of our defense, a few years worth of first-round picks and second-round picks, maybe a conditional third-round pick. We've been doing really good in the draft and building our team up lately. It's not worth it. Our defense is one step from being absolutely elite. We're already top 5. Elite is that top 3. We're too close. Our defense can carry as long as our offense can keep us in the game. You understand what I'm saying? So get off the train of having Aaron Rodgers show up in Washington. We don't need a Hall of Fame quarterback because our offense isn't whole yet. We have a huge, huge hole at wide receiver. And what's the one thing Aaron Rodgers complains about in Green Bay? They never give him what he wants. He wants wide receivers. They don't give him the wide receivers. So why would he be happy in Washington when we only have one guaranteed receiver? Everyone else is a question mark right now. If you want to talk dollars and cents, he wants a new contract. Wherever he goes, of course, for this season, Green Bay will have to swallow that cap. But going forward, he's going to want a new contract. He wants some security. Which means he doesn't want to go anywhere for a few years. The Packers really messed up last year when they traded up to get Jordan Love, and now all of a sudden, Jordan Love doesn't look like he's ready to play yet. He doesn't look very good in practice. Green Bay fans know what I'm talking about. Just something to think about. We got Ryan Fitzpatrick this year to start. Taylor Heineke is the backup. Next year, in the first round, I have us drafting, Washington football team drafting Malik Willis out of Liberty. He'll sit for 1 year. We'll bring Ryan Fitzpatrick back for another year. We might even extend Taylor Heineke for another year or two. The 2023 season is when we'll see Malik Willis take the field. And he'll start to shine. By that time, our offensive line will be complete. We'll have had 2 more years to establish our wide receivers outside of Terry McLaurin. The tight end position, Sammis Reyes, and hopefully John Bates is still hanging around, along with Logan Thomas, which honestly I don't think Logan Thomas will be here in 2023. I think he'll probably be He'll probably be a little too expensive at that point because he really showed out last year, and I think he'll continue to do so. He might be a little too expensive, so we'll see what happens. Who knows? He might give us a hometown discount. We don't know. What I'm saying is build the team from the inside out and then drop your quarterback in. Give him a year to sit, and he'll be ready to go. Malik Willis, I think, will be our guy. That's the hot take. He'll be our guy. And stop with the Aaron Rodgers stuff. It's not happening for Washington. If he goes anywhere, it's Denver. Currently, he's a Packer. Let's let Green Bay figure that out. All right, folks. Love y'all. That's been episode 21. I will see y'all next week. Until then, stay safe, folks.